Hey, 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 I am Brianna Harmon, and this is the Millennial Mommies Club, an original podcast dedicated to all of the millennial mommies out there killing the game. Whether you are single, married, or expecting, this is the place to be during your 15 minutes of downtime. Welcome to the Millennial Mommies Club.
I'm a fun mom.
I am a patient mom.
I am a conscious mom.
I'm a creative mom.
I'm a millennial mom.
What's up, mamas, and welcome back to the Millennial Mommies Club on Ebony Covering Black America Podcast Network. We are here today with the boss sisters. That's what I'm calling them. Erica and Andrea Hamilton. Hey. Listen, how are y'all feeling today?
Good.
Amazing.
How are you doing?
I am great and super excited to have y'all with me on the show
Thanks
today.
for having us.
Yes, ma'am. So I want to get right into the mama journey. We're going to talk about theory and you guys' agency, and we're going to talk about everything else you guys have coming up. But we're here talking about motherhood today. So whoever wants to take it first, momhood is the best hood. What's going on right now with y'all?
So I just had a baby 8 months ago. My son Faza's 8 months, but I do have a daughter, Ava. She's 7, going on 17. Ooh. So for anyone out there who has that middle-aged elementary school student, you already know it is not easy. They are very opinionated, and it's just been crazy, but it's fun, chaotic, funny. It's just, motherhood is the most, it's just a roller coaster of emotions every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Erica, how's your journey?
Mine, I'm getting into the swing of it. So I had my daughter Junie March of 21. So one of those COVID babies.
I know that
so
feeling.
It was, my pregnancy was actually a lot different than, other women because, when you have the doctor visits, your partner is not allowed to be in the hospital with you for any doctor visit. I was alone. So a lot of times, it could feel a little sad at times, but, God willing, she came healthy, beautiful baby girl. She is just like me. She reminds me of her dad to some degree, but she's crazy and fun, just like me. And when I first had her, trying to get back into the swing of things with work, it was a little bit of a struggle for me because I felt like I wasn't being the best mom if I needed help, if I needed a nanny.
Yeah.
But once I sat back and realized, it doesn't make you any less of a mother, getting back out there to work, getting back out there to just do daily errands that you were doing. So now I'm in a really good place where I'm able to receive help. I'm able to balance it. What?
No, but let's talk about that because I'm feeling that right now. I have a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I'm challenged with going to work a lot because I'm like, damn, am I not home enough?
Right.
Are they seeing me enough? Am I not giving them enough attention?
Yeah.
And then I have people on the outside looking in like, you work a lot. How are you able to balance this, and where are your kids at when you're always out doing something? That shit it hurts to be able to retire.
And it's a guilt trip thing that they make you do because when I had Ava the same year we started our business. And she was pretty much like the trial run for all of us on children because I was the first of my friends and everyone who was out here who had a baby.
Yeah.
And it was like the business is a baby, my baby's an actual baby, and how am I balancing all of this at the same time? And it literally drove me crazy, but it was like you had to have this village. I had to have clients that were accepting of my situation. They were happy to see Ava. Ava would come to our meetings. Ava would come to our events. She was like the mascot of the company, honestly, the first few years. And I think this second go around, because I didn't get a nanny and things like that when I had Ava, we really thugged it out. Like I said, Erica would help, I would help. Everyone was helping, with Ava when she was born. But this second go around with my son Faza, I knew I was going to need that outside help. And as you all said, it makes you feel guilty as a mom to think someone else is going to be in here raising your kid. And I just never wanted that. But I'm like, I'm not, and I said this to my boyfriend before, I said, I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm a mompreneur. And meaning by that is that I'll be depressed if I'm at home every day. And so for some women, that's what they want, and that's great for them. But for me, I knew I'm like a hustler, I'm a go-getter, I work. So I had to be working again. I had to be out in the streets, not in a bad way, but outside at events, throwing events, taking my clients to interviews, whatever it is, I needed to be out working because that fills me. And then if I'm full, I can be able to be a full, great mother for my children and show them that you can do it, especially more than anything, my daughter. I need to show her that as a woman, you can still be a mom, be a girlfriend or wife, cook and clean, and still work multiple jobs if you have to, and do it flawlessly. So that was kind of my goal. So this time around, I have help, and honestly, it's been a blessing, to say the least. And I wish I did it with Ava, but now that I mean, you know, not crying over spilled milk.
I think a lot of time, to your point, Bree, just about a lot of people looking in from the outside, you have to be able, you know, I had therapy my entire pregnancy, still in therapy now. Shout out to Sarita Butler of Just Be Consults. You really do have to have blinders on and not worry about, really in anything in life, you can't really worry about, you know, we're in the era of social media, so we're always constantly seeing other people and comparing our lives to everyone else, not knowing the full scope of the situation. So it helped me just to put on blinders and do what works best for me and for her dad. You know, he's in the music industry as well. He runs full service management and record label. Yeah. So we're both on the go. We're both busy, but we both hold place for each other to make sure we have the time to ourselves that we need, that we're able to, like you said, refill our cup. But yeah, you really just have to kind of not worry about the outside judgment, because it doesn't matter.
And it's going to happen. And people are going to always have something to say. Everyone's going to have an opinion on how you should live your life, but you just have to be very firm on your beliefs of how things should be, because at the end of the day, it's your life, your children. Like I always say, you can't tell people how to raise their children. No. You cannot tell people what's best for their household and their children. So you just have to do what it works for you.
Yeah, and mom shaming is where that big umbrella that we're experiencing right now as moms. From Ari Fletcher and how she takes her baby or had them at the birthday party, things like that, to just Chloe and Kim and all them, how they're raising their kids. There's always these binoculars on us of how we have to do it the right way. Right. There is no right way, in my opinion. There's no rule book, there's no manual, there's no direction. You just got to roll with the punches, and whatever you got to do on the daily, you have to accept that and move forward with it. Now, with you guys being in a space of working in business, how do you balance it? Now, I know you guys help each other where if you have an event, maybe Erica will watch the baby, or Erica, you'll help, you know, in any way. How do y'all even balance mentally going and being a mom, but also running your business?
This is time management. Like, I preach that to everyone. It's like time management with prioritization. So you have to prioritize your work tasks for the day, and you have to prioritize your family life tasks, and make sure that you really allocate enough time for everybody as well as time for yourself. And it takes a while to really get into the swing of that. Like, the first year of a new baby's life, like, it's pandemonium. Like, it's a lot of up and down. You just don't know how it's going to be. So, you know, give yourself some grace, I always say. But once you kind of get into that routine of things, it's just about time management, and that's it. And whatever, like people always say, what's important to you, you will find time for. What's important to you, you will find a way. And all those things are important to me, so I'm going to make it my way to have time for everything. I've even set like 7,000 alarms on my phone to just stop me from what I'm doing, to say, Faza's story time. Yeah. Take Ava to the park. Like, things, and I've had those in my phone since Ava's been alive. Just to stop me in my tracks. Like, okay, stop working for a minute. Now this is time that you've got to take, you know, to spend time with your children without being interrupted by work life. Yeah,
you just have to make it happen, honestly, because if you don't do it, who will? Yeah. So, like Andrea is saying, it might be, okay, I might not be a morning person, but guess what? I might have to wake up 3 hours earlier just to get ahead of my day, to be able to have that time for yourself, that time for your partner, that time for your child. Yeah. And then there's sometimes when you do have to, like, for instance, over this past weekend, I was working 2 Chainz's birthday party, and my nanny had an emergency where she had to go for a few hours. So I had to run home, pick her up, bring her with me, and still work. Yeah. And it's just sometimes you have to just do what you have to do and get it done.
But that's a mom at the end of the day, because we have men in our lives, right? Those are their fathers. But we're always, no matter what, number one. We're priority. We can never just walk away. Yeah. I hate to do this, but dads, they can just
I say that all the time. They can just literally, having a baby doesn't really adjust a man's life the way it adjusts a woman's life, because a man, you know, they don't go through the 9 months of physically caring and all that comes with that. And then afterwards, you know, we're dealing with postpartum, we're dealing with breastfeeding, we're dealing with our bodies, you know, healing. And then the baby naturally is going to be more attached to us because of the baby coming out of our womb. And men can kind of just go back to work and go back to normal life. And granted, of course, it might be mentally changing, a change for them, and financially a change for them. But a lot of the emotional and physical sacrifices more so come from the mom.
Yeah, well, let's stay on that for a second. And we're not going to bash men and
not at all.
But they, in some way, shape, or form, I think, do we agree that they do kind of have to go through that mental change? Because they're also having to accept that I have to help raise this baby, or I have to help that woman get better.
They go through physical change. I mean, even though they're not the one carrying the baby, they go through a lot of emotional changes, mental changes, financial changes. I feel like a lot of times we do the comparison, but a lot of times you really can't compare. It's just not possible to really compare the two roles. But they're both vital in the upbringing and raising of a child. And in my situation, yes, he's not physically, scientifically able to carry the baby, but he was there every step of the way to make sure I was comfortable, make sure I felt, seen and heard. He got me a doula. He was the one that introduced therapy to me. So it's like, yes, I might not be able to physically do it, but let me help you.
Yeah.
Very, very supportive in that
the support
space
that they provide throughout the process. But like I said, everyone's going to have their own personal changes and feelings about when a baby comes. But I do, like I said, women may sacrifice time a little more in the beginning, but it's not, sometimes it's not the man's fault, because honestly, like I said, the baby naturally is more drawn to them, especially if a woman's a breastfeeding mom. Like, this is their prime source of, nutrients. They're going to be, attached at the hip, and somebody has to still be out and work and, provide. And I think, that is, in most households, I can maybe say confidently that the man's role is to be the provider. And so they're going to be gone a little more or be working. And, women may be home in the first year to really like nurture the kid, in that first year of life, which, like Erica said, it's hard to compare it. But then, of course, there's resentment on both sides that happens that first year. It's a lot of emotions that happen.
And I think a lot of times, even if you don't have a child, just in relationships, friendships, business partnerships, communication and understanding, because you can feel resentment and have all these things built up, but if you are not articulating and communicating how you feel and how someone can show up for you, then a lot of problems are going to arise in any type of situation.
I'll say it's hard for us to kind of bite our tongue and communicate those sometimes as women.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we feel as if I'm right, my pride is in the way, I want it this way, you have to see it this way or no way. But we have to take a step back and be able to say, I'm going to advocate for myself. And if it doesn't happen, I'm going to get out of there. So let's talk about that real quick. The situations with baby daddies and having to possibly separate. Is anybody separated?
Yeah, so my daughter and my son have two different dads. So my daughter's father and I, we separated when she was maybe like a little over one. We just didn't align, there were things that relationships go through, just being transparent, there were infidelities, just things of that nature. And again, it's very different when you as a woman, when you raise a daughter and when you raise a son. There's two different energies that I have to give my kids. But with my daughter, a lot of her life lessons are about womanhood and women and just being empowered and not feeling like, I'm not one of those people you don't need no man, because I do feel like women need men, men need women. But I do want my daughter to be able to have independence and not feel like she has to rely. It's a difference. I want you to be in a relationship because you want to be there, not because you need them to survive. So I think it was more important for me. I found myself in the battle with her father of what's more important, showing her a two-parent household or showing her a mother that's happy. And so after about a year and some change, I've realized as a woman to a daughter, it's more important for her to see her mother loved properly and for her to see her mom happy and not me just kind of saving face, because I feel like there's a lot of us, our parents may be the way, where you see them together for 45 years just for the kids, miserable. And then as soon as the kids leave the nest, they divorce. They're done. They couldn't wait. And now they don't know what to do. They've missed out all their prime years of life because they just did it for the kids. But that's some 1950s era stuff. And we're in a new phase where it's not so taboo to be a single mom or a single dad, and you got to do what you got to do to be happy. So I separated from him. It was tough the first year.
Did you leave? Or
I left. I moved out. It was tough, but see, I made a vow to myself when I moved out. I was not going to be the bitter baby mama because I care about my reputation. I have too much going on. I'm not about to be that baby mama that someone's talking about and things like saying I'm crazy. Like I have too much going on work-wise.
Yeah.
I don't have the time and energy to be petty.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of women need to understand, like, y'all just may not work out, and that's fine. That doesn't make him a bad dad.
Yeah.
So
but how do you accept that off rip, though? Because I will tell you, at first, you're like, and mama, this is how I did it. I'm mentally debating, am I really happy? Did I leave too soon? Should I give him an opportunity? Should I stay there a little bit longer? But then when I finally walked out, now I see you doing stuff that you could have done for me that you did not do. You're doing for someone
But you gotta
else.
sometimes think that, again, and I've talked to her, I've talked to so many people about this just in their own relationships in life, just throughout. Just because, like, sometimes that's just not your person.
Yeah.
And we have to stop forcing relationships, because a lot of times people are in love with an idea of a relationship rather than the actual person. So this concept of, I just think I like this man and his life and what he can provide, so I know I just want this. But you don't really love him. Y'all actually don't align. Y'all don't like any of the same things. Y'all don't have any of the same interests. So are y'all really a good couple?
Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to just, like, and again, it didn't take, like, I didn't just wake up one day and leave her father.
Right.
Like I said, it took time.
Oh, yeah.
It was months and months and months. I done moved out and came back 15 times. And then it was like, when it was the final straw, I was so at peace. That's when I knew, like, I'm not crying, I'm not upset, I don't feel any way. Actually, I'm just, like, ready to go. And the day I left, I never once questioned him again. We never had beef anymore because I was so at peace with the situation, and I realized we just are not fit. But are you a great dad? You're an amazing father.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make sure we spend equal time with her when it's holidays and things like that. We have to come together as a unit for her birthday and things, and so she can still see that her parents are cool. Because I don't want her to grow up thinking her parents hate each other. But it's a maturity thing, you know, where you have to accept everybody just isn't your person and let it go, you know, and move on with your life. Because as long as you hold that, you're not gonna find the right person for you. As long as you're holding, like, oh, I'm so mad, or still checking and going through Instagram and making fake pages and, you know, just doing that stuff that drives me. All doesn't drive you insane. Like, the guy's still gonna do what he's gonna do, and you're over there about to kill yourself, you know? So it's like,
ooh, she said a lot.
She did.
But I'm just saying, you know, just remove all of that.
It.
And then, you know, just be at peace with the situation and just move on.
That piece takes time.
And
It does. It's not an overnight process.
I'll be quick with mine. You know, my daughter's one year and a half, 18 months actually. I'm still doing that month count. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't a planned situation.
Yeah.
And so in the beginning, it was rocky. And it took a lot of time and effort and therapy, group session, or, you know, couple sessions, individual sessions, for us to really work on our root issues. It wasn't necessarily just solely about us. And if we're in a relationship or if we're not, we realize we really need to work on ourselves and just be at peace with ourselves, because then we'll be a better parent for our daughter.
Yeah.
And he's literally like my best friend. We're in a great, great place. We're co-parenting. We have a good system. We're still learning every single day. You know, you're still
it's a never-ending learning process.
Yeah,
with
you're
children.
still working towards the end goal, which is just to have peace and be aligned. But we're human. We're human beings. We're in our young, you know, either late 20s or early 30s. We're still trying to figure out who we are.
Yep.
So if you don't even know who you are as a person, how are you going to know the right relationship for you? But at the end of the day, I really think it boils down to respect, communication,
and that baby.
Yeah.
And that baby first.
Yeah, it's because a lot of women and men don't put the kid first. They kind of try to make it seem like it's about the kid, but it's really about their own personal emotions. And that's the thing where I say, when you come at peace, you set your own personal feelings completely aside. And what is the best thing for this child now?
Yeah.
And how do we separate how I feel about something to make sure she's good, you know, in certain situations.
And that's what I said. When I found peace, when I knew I found peace, I don't want to break that up ever again.
Exactly.
So I know what peace feels like. I know what peace looks like. I
Right.
know what chaos looks like. I don't want that. I want peace. So once you find that and accept it, there's no going back and looking for anything more. But we're going to take a quick break because we have the cookie jar coming up next.
Okay, I'm excited.
Y'all listening to the Millennial Mommies Club on Ebony, covering Black America Podcast Network.
You are listening to the Ebony Covering Black America Podcast Network.
Welcome back, mamas, to the Millennial Mommies Club. We have Andrea and Erica Hamilton in here, and it is time to get into the cookie jar.
Let me see what y'all talking about.
Let's see what they want to know. Who wants to go first?
I told you I wanted to go first.
Go ahead, girl.
All right.
This what happens when you sisters.
Right.
It's always an argument.
Let's see.
Okay, y'all. Ooh, this is long. Okay.
Somebody had to get off their
What
chest.
do you do when you have a partner and or your child's father that thinks you are a mom now? So all you should do is work, clean, and take care of the kids. That you shouldn't have a life outside of being a mother. That you're a mom now and that is all that matters. How do you handle that and navigate that?
That was a lot.
That's kind of what I touched earlier, though.
And yeah, you know.
About mompreneur versus
This is my question.
I'm just making notes.
Okay, so it's to me, a lot of times just in society, a man feels that it is a woman's role to cook, clean, be the nurturer while they are the provider. And yes, to a degree, but I also am a big firm believer that it needs to be equal. You can also cook and clean if you see, and I had a very long work week. It's about sharing the duties, but also communicating like, hey, it would be wonderful if you were to cook dinner tonight. I've had a really long day and I just want to have like an hour to rest. Could you help? Communicating with your partner is really the best thing in this situation. Let me just hold on because you was touched, girl. Let me make sure.
It's funny that you keep saying you're a mom now. Mention how you were going to do your sketch.
Yeah, so aside from PR and marketing and event planning, I have a passion for comedy and writing and stand-up comedy. So in the midst of the pandemic, obviously I had my daughter and I had a stand-up title that's going to be called You're a Mom Now. Because everyone just feels like you're a mom now. You got to do this. You're a mom now. You got to do that. And it's like, no, I'm very non-traditional. Me being a mom is just being whatever the hell I want to be. Mm-hmm. So girl, put your foot down. Let them know you're not cooking tonight. Leave the dishes out and see what happens. Hell, if it takes 3 days for those dishes to pile up until somebody clean them, then that'll tell you something. But honestly, though, just instead of leading with the you don't do this, you don't do that, men don't hear that. You have to reframe it, reframe the approach, and just talk about when you speak from an I. I need you to do this. I feel this when this happens. And I promise you'll probably see some changes.
I love
Godspeed.
That. I love that you're a mom now because that right there bothers the mess out of me.
Because you hear it all the time.
Yeah, you can't wear that no more. You a mom.
Right.
Girl,
you're
you
going
can't
to the
go
club.
out.
You're a mom. Where's your daughter?
Mm-hmm.
She's at the bar getting us a drink.
Right.
What you
Every
think?
time I go out, they're like, where your daughter at? I'm like, I'm at the club.
Right.
Why are you asking me this right now? Like, why?
Because you're a mom now. You got to
Okay, let's go. I'm excited.
Okay, let's see. Let me get in there. Okay, mine's not as long as yours.
Yeah, I had a novel.
It says, what is something you wish you knew about the reality of motherhood before you became a mom? That's a tough one because motherhood is a reality that I'm still just living in every day. Every day I'm learning, like I always, like even when I told her when she had Junie, from my experience, every year is a new chapter of parenthood.
Yeah.
You know, like you think you did something, but wait till they turn 2, they're a new kid. When they turn 3, they're a new kid. Now my daughter's 7. I'm dealing with a 24-year-old pretty much because she thinks she's grown. And I wasn't prepared for that. And then you start thinking back like, when I was a kid, was I like this? What was I doing? What was I saying? These new kids different. So I just feel like I think more so, I really don't know because when I became a mom, I wasn't ready for anything.
Yeah.
I was never ready. And I always tell people, like, I don't think anyone's ever ready to become a parent. Even if you're planning a pregnancy, I always say, you don't know what to do until that baby comes out of you. I say a light shines down from God, and then all of a sudden, I know how to take care of a kid. Because I was never the person who wanted to have kids like that. Like, I knew I would, but I wasn't, like some women want to be married.
Got babies.
Like, she loved the kids. It was never me. So I was like, when everyone found out I was one about to have a baby, first everyone was like, what? You? And I just never even thought about it my whole pregnancy. I was just living my life like, do. Oh, this belly, nothing to see here.
Yeah.
And then once Ava got here, it was like, oh, this is it. Oh, shit, it got real. And I think the most thing is just to understand that every single day is a learning experience. You're never going to always have it right. All you can do is try your best and do the best you can every single day. And you're going to have bad days. The perception of being this Stepford housewife, perfect mom is not real for anyone across the board. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a working mom, if you live in a 2-parent household, it doesn't matter. You're going to have good, bad, ugly days.
Yeah.
And I think, again, in the beginning, I was just stuck on this white picket fence, Pleasantville lifestyle, thinking that's how it was going to be, and it just wasn't. And so I think once we remove those expectations and just accept life and meet people where they are, and accept things for what they are and just make the best of it, I think that's the best advice you can have just in parenthood in general.
I love that. You guys both talked about some very deep, serious positions and being able to, 1, put your foot down, but 2, just understand what you want as well. But I want to get a little deeper, and this may be a little personal, but postpartum depression. That is something that we women face after having our babies. Did you guys ever experience it in any way?
So I think for me, especially with dealing with a pandemic while being pregnant, I had, and not to discredit anyone else's situation, I felt like I really, really had it rough. For one, not even knowing like the state of society. Can I go outside? I have anxiety really, really severely at times, and the thought of getting sick. And then if I get sick, is my child going to get sick? So there were moments where I just didn't want to do anything. I didn't want anyone to really be around me for the fear of that. And then after I had my daughter, I kind of spoke on this earlier about feeling like I was jealous. I was jealous of my sister that she was able to just work and do and come and go as she pleased. I was jealous of her father for being able to still work. And it's not like, he's looking at it like, I'm not out here having fun. Yes, we work in the music industry, so things can look fun, but it's all smoke and mirrors. Like, we're working. So I would be so jealous of him that he can go to the gym, come back, eat food, not have a baby, on
your titty.
On a titty. Go out of town, do all these things. And I was just sitting back looking like this. I was just getting so angry.
Yeah.
And I never once felt like I didn't want to have my daughter, or I never once looked at her like, oh, like just mad at her. I was just very, very envious of other people. But being able to stay in therapy really helped me get that in check early.
Yeah.
I know a lot of times it could linger for years. Of course, it's natural to have fleeting feelings and moments where you're like, damn, I got to sit this one out. But you understand it's for the good. Like, you're with your child. So I definitely was hit with a slight wave of that, and burnout is real.
Yeah.
I still have moments where I feel burnout.
Yeah.
But that's why I said, like, my daughter's dad we're in such a great place as far as like communicating now. Of course, we have our moments, but when I feel burnt out, it's always, what can I do to help? Let me know. His mom, my mom, she don't watch no damn kids. She, like, the child has to be able to sufficiently.
Let's talk about that grandma thing now.
No,
These
like
grandmas want to be outside.
He has brothers and sisters, but this is the first grandchild in their family.
Oh.
And his mother and father, like, I am forever indebted to them. They are so helpful, loving, hands-on. So it's like whenever he's not able to physically help me, he's got us the nanny. He'll drive to Kennesaw and back, Tuesdays and Thursdays, so that his mom can watch her when I need it. So he really, myself doing the work, and like my therapist have really helped me get out of feeling the postpartum.
Yeah. I think with me, I had postpartum with both of my children, but it was different levels of it. As I always say, there's different types of postpartum depression, you know, and people think postpartum and they think automatically, like Erica said, you regret having a baby. And that was never it on both cases. With my daughter's father, is because we were going through problems.
Separation.
So that was bringing a lot of just, like I said, resentment, jealousy, anger, and it's like you have this baby, and I
Can't stop crying.
Yeah, and I'm emotional. And this girl with my son's father and I were together. He's an amazing dad. He's very hands-on, like more hands-on than I've seen most men be with their children. And he helps me so much. But I think for me, with 2 kids, we had picked up a lot of business right before I had my son. And Erica, I'm the person that always figures everything out. I'm the person who always has my stuff together. Like, I'm the one that you never can really see shaken up like that.
She's a robot.
That's what they always call me. Like, she's a robot. She has no emotion, but I'm just always been the person that has my shit together.
Yeah.
And this was the first time in life, or more so not my shit together, I'm in control of everything around me. That's how I am, and across the board with everything in my life, I have to be in control. And this was the first time in life I felt like I did not have control over my life. And like I said, with a 7-year-old and an infant, they're in 2 different worlds. Yep. It's different when you kind of have babies back to back because they're almost aligned with what's going on. But when a 7-year-old wants to go to the jumping place like she's used to and all this, and I got this baby who's teething and crying and he's not feeling good and I don't have the time, and then I'm trying to balance work and then, like I said, my boyfriend as well works in the industry, so he travels a lot. He's gone. He usually has to travel almost every weekend. So then I'm like, dang, he gets to go out of town. But again, it's not for fun. He's really working. So, I had to get out of that quick. But then I just didn't feel in control of my life. And I just felt like I was missing out a lot of stuff. And I couldn't like move around how I used to. So this go around, my postpartum was more so just feeling stressed out, overworked, overwhelmed, and not understanding how to create my routine again and recalibrate my time management.
Yeah. And can I say, I was actually like, of course, I was extremely empathetic to her situation and tried to help where I can. But I was so happy she was going through that because I wanted her to understand it's okay to not be okay. Yeah. She never... This
is the first time in life any of my family and friends just see me kind of like break down.
And I was like, wow, I'm just... And not to say that in like a way that's like evil, like her life's fucking falling apart. Excuse my French. Yeah. But I wanted her to realize like you're not perfect. It is literally okay to, because growing up, when I'm the middle child, so I'm like the problematic one. Then there's the firstborn, and then she's like the golden child, the baby, and I'm like, from childhood, you've had to feel as if you've had to be that star child, perfect person. Come to the dark side, baby, the rebel side. It's okay though. But honestly, once she realized, like, okay, things are falling apart, but are they falling apart or falling into place? You just have to go about it a little differently. Yeah. And I've seen her come out on the other side. Yeah, like it's okay.
Yeah. And it's been recent.
It's all right.
Like I said, my son's only 8 months, so like it was maybe within the past 6 weeks is when I kind of got out of just like that space that I was just like...
It was making her physically ill.
Yeah, I was physically sick. Yeah. I was going to the doctor. I had got postpartum vertigo, so I was having dizzy spells. I was getting sick. I had to go to neurology. I mean, like literally I became like, and I was just like breaking down because no one could tell me what was wrong with me. I'm thinking I'm having heart attacks.
I was trying to tell her stress. It's stress. Stress it will literally make you ill.
And so I had to, and then I had a great conversation with our therapist, Erica's therapist, who ended up calling me Sarita Butler. And so I had a 1 hour unload session. And after that session was when I kind of like...
Did you cry?
I cried a little bit, but it was more so, it was just like I was able to articulate off my chest everything I had to say.
And release it.
And then, I just once I heard myself say it, I was like, okay, now go back into the bad bitch that you are, get it together, and figure it out. And that's what I've been doing so far. And like I said, it's now I feel comfortable again. And even my boyfriend's like, you just seem better. Like you seem less stressed. You seem happy. Because again, he's extremely helpful. So it was never like, I'm not getting help at home. I'm not this, I'm not that. It was just, I just don't like not being in control. And this was the first time, they don't tell you about 2. They say they don't tell you about 1 kid. 2 kids,
I got 2 under 2.
Yeah,
So
girl.
I got twins right now.
Because I keep saying, I said, I don't know how my parents did it, because, we're only 17 months apart.
Yeah.
And I always think like, oh my God.
Yeah, my girls are 13 months apart, and you should see them when I have to take them to award shows, when I have to bring them to the studio for shoot days, when I have to actually get us ready and myself, makeup, hair, everything, and they're with me.
Listen,
girl,
I got to give a round of applause because listen,
thank
with
you.
one, the struggle we understand. So 2,
I know, and that, I think a little bit about what you said, it's a rebirth of you. And sometimes our kids will do that to us, where you lose yourself in a moment. But when you find that new person and you really hold on to her, oh, the rest is history.
It's a different level of motivation that comes from having children that is nothing on this earth can give you.
Yeah.
And I say that, like, so until someone becomes a mother, they will never have that burst and spark of motivation that comes with just understanding that you have this mouth to feed and this person depends on you for their life. And like, it's just a different level of push that comes behind that.
Listen, you 2 women, the Boss Sisters, are incredible and amazing mamas.
Thank you
Please
so much.
let everyone know where they can find you to keep up with your new comedy journey and also just the business. Let them know where they can find y'all.
Okay, so first things first, our business page at Theory, THEORY_COMM. That's our business page. You can stay up to date with all of our clients, any shows, music releases, all of that. And my personal is at E_Hammer with 3 R's at the end.
Hammer, that's how it is.
I made it so long ago.
And my personal page, I went to SCAD, so, this is back from when I was a fashion student.
Get on with it.
Oh, girl, bye. You did a whole monologue. It's Fashion Dree, DREE, and that's it.
I love that. Well, mamas, thank you so much
No,
for
thank
joining
you
us.
again.
Thank you. All right, mamas, see you next week for another episode of the Millennial Mommies Club on Ebony, covering Black America Podcast Network.